We have covered some stunning cases of hypocrisy on this show. You know, your super anti-gay Republican who himself ends up being gay, or protect the kids Republican who ends up being caught in a child abuse scandal or something. This one is just mind-boggling, but it happens a lot of utter hypocrisy. And to break that down for us, I want to bring in Brittany Page, who's going to lay out the story. Brittany, thanks for being with us.
It's Brittany, bitch. I'm so excited to be here.
I don't even think the audience is going to understand what that soundbite was.
I didn't even understand what it was.
Brittany, bitch.
There we go.
That one's better.
So what's going on?
Well, Representative Andy Biggs, Republican in Arizona, he has a daughter named Mylie Biggs. And Mylie has announced that she is running for elected office for the state Senate in Arizona. But the interesting thing about this is that she was on a podcast just a year ago, August 6th, 2024, when she talked about how women shouldn't hold elected office. Now, I debated changing my background to a kitchen, but I didn't have the skills to do that for Mylie to talk about this today. But I did wear a dress, okay? Because I'm trying to conform to Mylie's gender stereotypes, her rigid gender stereotypes that you're going to hear from her here. And she went on this podcast named the Maddie McCurdy program to talk about this. And so she's made like this drastic change in just a year. It's fascinating, but she talks in this clip. It's gonna start with the two here, Mylie Biggs, Maddie McCurdy, talking about Kamala Harris as the VP pick, because you remember this was a year ago. And there's going to be some talking to people off camera. I think they're trying to like replicate the Joe Rogan experience in this clip. Poorly, as you will see. And that's not a compliment to Joe Rogan either, but they are going to be talking to someone off camera a couple of times. And Maddie is mostly going to be the one talking on this one, with Mylie chiming in about how women shouldn't hold office. But remember, while you're listening to this clip, that she's now running for elected office.
His running mate. So.
Yeah, literally.
Well, originally they put her on the ticket because she was that DEI hire, and you know, she brought in the female, whatever, you know, ethnicity she is vote, and that was kind of the background. But
yeah, the only female I would vote for is Candace Owens.
I'm just waiting. That'd be interesting. That'd be good.
Honestly, I don't know if I would vote for any female. I don't know if a female should be in office.
Here's my biggest issue with a female in office. I don't personally necessarily have an issue with them domestically. I just think they would never be respected.
What does that mean?
Like for domestic issues, like U.S. country issues, I don't think she'd be
world.
Yeah, like the U.S. there'd be a portion that was like, no, never a woman, and then there'd be a fair amount that are like, you know, if she does a good job, we don't care, right? Just do a good job.
But
would she? I don't know.
Foreign, like, people are like,
yeah,
man.
You think Putin's gonna go to a meeting with a woman and be like, yes, hello, I respect you.
I will listen to you.
Yeah.
Yes, I will stop the war in Ukraine.
Yeah. No shot. No shot. You think anybody? Yeah. There's no world leader. Anything in the Middle East, you think that a woman's going, like any leader in the Middle East is going to respect a woman in office?
Yeah, I agree.
Never. No, I mean, they don't even respect their own, like a lot of those countries don't even respect their own women in that type of life.
Exactly. So
right?
Like, why would you respect a woman in America?
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
It makes sense.
I agree with that.
That's my biggest hang up.
And there are a lot of really good women in office.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hate on anyone. Even like some really good congresswomen. I don't think women should hold office in general. Like,
there it is. I don't think women should hold office in general. And I don't think women should be on podcasts. Get out of here, Brittany. Full screen me, damn it. There we go. If you want to speak, you can look at me while we gosh, it's so embarrassing. And this happens so frequently. You know, funnily, the thought that came to my mind was a similar phenomenon would happen with my who shall not be named, no I'm kidding, former podcast partner, Isabella, where she would say like women should be in this role where they're not doing career things and they're not speaking like aggressively and they're subservient to the husband, and then herself would be out doing a career pursuit and very pronounced and you know, bold, which I'm fine with, but she supposedly wasn't. And it's just sort of like a weird, and you see this with a lot of these trad wife influencers, as they call themselves, where it's like, women shouldn't be doing careers and trying to make money, and we need to go back to decades ago, and men need to be the only one, as they're doing a show, making money, doing a career pursuit. And it's like, no, you don't get to do rules for everyone else, but not for me. And you're proving right now why that's such a ridiculous idea, because you have a pursuit that you want to lean into. You have a passion, and you should be able to, even if it's screaming about ridiculous things online, pursue that.
Absolutely. And obviously, Miley is now pursuing elected office. So I think, first of all, just to go back, it's always a bad sign when you have two people talking about politics online. And when one references domestic issues, everyone is bewildered and absolutely stunned and doesn't know what that means and has to actually ask, what do you mean by that? What does that mean?
No.
These are definitely people that you want to be listening to talk about politics. But I also love that Maddie McCurdy, the host of this wildly successful program, that he is talking about how women wouldn't be respected abroad, and that Putin specifically wouldn't respect a woman president. When does Putin respect Donald Trump, or does everyone see Donald Trump for what he is, which is a man who can be exploited because of his weaknesses and insecurities? I think that Donald Trump is the perfect example of a person that is not respected, even though he's a man and in a position of power. So it's not dependent on whether you're a woman or a man. It's who are you? What are you bringing to the table? Donald Trump brings insecurity and weakness. But yeah, I mean, they also talk about how a lot of those countries, whatever countries they're referencing, don't respect their own women. And what's funny about that is this is within the context of them having a discussion over whether or not women should be considered equal. So they're saying these other countries don't treat women well, while they're having a conversation about should women be equal in this country. And, you know, the news that broke this was the Phoenix New Times, and they actually reference another episode that Miley was on. I went to go get the clip of it, but the audio was so terrible that you couldn't even hear it. But in that clip, she says that she wanted to repeal the 19th Amendment. So she doesn't even want women to vote, but here she is going and running for elected office. So there you have it.
Have you seen ones where it's like, if women were the only ones to vote, what it would look like? And it's literally like 80% blue. Big said with a laugh. It's like, whoa, repeal the 19th Amendment. Okay, so that's close. So maybe she's being sarcastic, but that's funny. Don't threaten me with a good sarcastic. Time. 80% blue.
I know, right? They'll show me that map.
I always love to. I don't want to keep calling it back to my. Just the only consistent experience I had with debating ideas like this was when I did the show The Grudge with Isabella Moody, and we debated about this. And she would say stuff like, women are stupid and they shouldn't be allowed to vote and things would go to hell if they had all this power. And I was like, that's hella projection. I agree. Maybe you would bring things to hell. Not all women. I think this is a you problem that you're just assuming is your womanhood when it's your you-hood.
Yeah, and that comes up too when we start getting into kind of these conversations about rigid gender stereotypes, which is where they go in the next clip. And I know that weird thing happened during that clip where they put the still screenshot up of just a photo of them. I'm not sure why that's in the clip. I don't know if they did that to kind of cover the conversation now that this is like making headlines that she said this or what's going on there.
That's weird.
But in this next part of the clip, Maddie McCurdy actually asks Miley, okay, that's an interesting position, not wanting women to hold elected office. What is it that, what brought you to this? Why do you believe this? And then she gives her perspective.
And as we continue through this segment, please do click the subscribe button on this channel if you appreciate this show, and then go check out Brittany Page's show by searching Brittany Page on YouTube. All right, let's listen.
And, or, you know, just growing up, your belief system, what kind of fuels that thought process?
A little bit of both, because it is kind of a hot take even amongst the conservatives. Like a lot of my own, you know, circle don't agree with that necessarily. Like women should be wherever they want, but like, I don't know, it's just modern feminism has like transformed incredibly in the past few years, starting with women's right to vote, and went rampant from there. And like, there's so many videos on even TikTok where so many girls are waking up and are like, whoever fought for my right to work, like, I hate them.
Yeah.
Because,
So relatable.
because
bro.
like, no, like right now I'm in a 9 to 5 and it's like, it's a really good situation. My 9 to 5 is probably the best I could ask for.
Yeah.
But like, I hate a 9 to 5 schedule. Like, I get home and I'm like, I don't want to do anything else. Like, women aren't built for this.
Yeah.
Like,
Put me back in the kitchen, bro.
yeah, no, literally, like, I just want to be a wife. I just want to be a mom. Like, that's what I want to do. And I think a lot of other women are waking up to that too. They're like, I don't want a 9 to 5. I want to be a wife. I want to be a mom.
Is that enough?
I mean, we're getting it, right? We're understanding.
I can play more, but the funny thing is, no, you don't know what the word right means. You have the right to do those things too. If you do want to find someone who's financially stable enough such that you don't have to work and you raise a family, your mother, which is a lot of work, but you assume those roles, great. You have the right to do that too. You don't have, the point is that you have the freedom to do either. Oh, it drives me crazy every time they go, but also, the projection thing I said before, she says, when I get home, I'm really tired. Women aren't built for this. No, everyone feels that after work. Everyone
Absolutely.
feels, shoot, I wish I didn't have to do this. And whatever configuration you want to strike in your relationship is your choice. But the very people you're raging against are the ones who fought for your ability to have that choice. But then choose whatever the hell you want.
I could not have said it better than that, truly. I mean, again, you hear this a lot when people attack feminism, and it's like feminism is just the fight to give you the choice. Sure, if you are indoctrinated by the TikTok videos that you see about trad wives and you find that appealing and you want to go do that, then go do that, right? That's the freedom to choose. If you want to have a career, then you should be able to have a career. If you want to have a credit card, you should be able to have a credit card. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, you should be able to be a stay-at-home mom. And rather than saying, I'm not built for this as a woman, women aren't built for this, you could just say we should be organizing to support workers' rights, to ensure that people have fulfilling lives, that they have their needs met in this society. I want to organize for the conditions that make these things possible. But instead you have someone generalizing and saying, I hate working, so I'm going to run for office, apparently, because I see my dad and he doesn't do a whole lot. It seems like a nice gig. I'm going to go do that. It's disturbing. But you know what's interesting? And again, we were kind of getting into this rigid gender role conversation, like you were hearing at the end there, where women are, she starts going into conversation about women are caretakers, men are providers. She's using these rigid gender stereotypes that we hear all the time from conservatives now. And they specifically go on to like mock things like women being in the military or women Secret Service agents. And they have a good laugh about the women who were actually in the detail surrounding Donald Trump during the assassination attempt that happened. And they mock like that women are small, and the idea that they could be protecting a man of Donald Trump's size. They find that very funny. But if you deviate from these rigid gender stereotypes, you will be a victim of this mockery. If you get too old, if you don't fit the certain ideal for a man or a woman as they see fit, you are outside of that and you will be attacked by people like this. So I think sometimes people hear these conversations and they're like, well, they're talking about the trans community or they're talking about this and that. No, you can also be a victim of it if you fall outside of these rigid gender norms. And it's almost like they believe that every male that is born is just expelled from the womb like Jason Bourne. Like every man is like just one Jason Bourne after another, or like Liam Neeson from Taken. That's how all men are. No, masculinity and femininity exist. It's on a spectrum, right? It depends on your personality, your interests, different factors. I mean, my mom was 6 feet tall, 220 pounds, and I've seen her fight multiple men, knock them to the ground, humiliate them. So it's not just men who are Jason Bourne, okay? It's also women who can be Jason Bourne, all right?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
And often you don't even have to argue with these ideas because people live their life such that they end up contradicting their own ideas, like what we're seeing here with her. And it's interesting they don't have that revelation where it's like, wait, the thing you're now choosing to do, Mylie, which you have, I'm totally supportive not of you running because I'm sure your ideas are probably bad based on your MAGA association, but supportive of your right to. And you just proved yourself why what you're saying previously was ridiculous. And this comes up constantly. And it's not even just on like the feminism debate. on so many others when we're talking about these these universal rights for people to choose a life that fits them, even if you don't exactly get it or that's not your cup of tea, on all different subjects. And so frequently, the people yelling a bunch about standing for some principle of a regressive idea end up in their own life proving they don't want to abide by those principles, because maybe the ones we hold that allow people to choose what it is they want to do with their life are more reasonable. Brittany, thank you so much for breaking that down. Very interesting.
Thank you for having me.
I know I mentioned it, but remind people where they can support your work.
You can find me right here on YouTube. Search my name, Brittany Page, or you can click the link in the description below, and I would love, love, love to see you there.